Hey YouTube fans, welcome back. This is Frank from Cruising with Wheels and another episode of Tales from the High Seas. Now this story goes back to 2015. In January we were on the NCL Gem. We were in port at St. Thomas, and we had decided, Kevin and I, that we were going to eat in a specialty restaurant. So we made reservations in the Orchid Garden in the Teppanyaki Grill. Now, we were kind of excited. Now, I haven't been in that kind of restaurant since years and years ago in New York City at Benihana's, watching the guy in his, slicing and dicing on the hibachi grill and flipping his spatulas and knives and doing all that crazy stuff. So Kevin and I were kind of excited. So he made the reservations, and of course, as usual, he lets them know that I'm in a wheelchair, so be expecting us to roll in. We had reservations at 7 o'clock. So we get there a little early, and the hostess has us just sitting out in Orchid Garden waiting. So we're waiting and we're waiting, and we're watching as all these other guests are being brought into the Teppanyaki Grill, which is, a separate back room where they have all the grills. And so we're waiting. So finally she comes and she gets us. And so we go back, and the room is totally filled with people. So we're apparently the last ones. I don't know why she kept us as the last. Now the room is set up when you walk in the door. There's section 1, and there's 2 grills together, and then behind it is section 2 with another 2 grills. Well, we were in the first section, but she has us placed right in the middle between section 1 and section 2, so that they wheel me past everybody who's already seated, coming around and right in the middle of the big group behind us and then our group. And there's already 14 people seated at our group with the 2 grills. And so where do they put me? Right at the entrance where the chefs go in and out from the restaurant to the grills. And we're like thinking, why would you put me there? I'm in a wheelchair, and I'm in the way as people are the chefs are trying to get in and out. It was kind of goofy. So we had ordered, according to my notes in my diary, Kevin and I ordered the Shogun. Okay, and you pre-order because they have to get the food ready. So they have to know what they're cooking for who. Now we ordered the Shogun, which is a beef and chicken combination. Now you can get other things like chicken and seafood, so people order maybe chicken and shrimp or beef and shrimp. Well, we ordered chicken and beef. So I'm sitting there, and Kevin's next to me, and everyone else is around the 2 grills. And now they're bringing the giant rolling cart of all the food that they're going to cook, all the vegetables, the beef, the chicken, the shrimp. And of course, guess what? They can't get it through the entrance into the grill area because why? Frank's in his wheelchair, and he's blocking part of the entrance because that's where they put me. So now they have to pick me up and shove me out of the way to get the rolling cart of food into the grill area for the chefs. And then they pick me up and shove me back into place.
And then they pick me up and shove me back into place.
So I'm already starting to get irritated. So there's another party, again, the 2 grills behind us, a whole group of people, and it looks like they're kind of finishing up. But they're up and they're walking around, and then you have the hostess and servers and, the staff. And every time somebody walks by, I'm being bumped and hit and shoved. And I was like, oh my God, I am so going to start freaking out. I'm getting really, really irritated. So then the group behind us finally gets up, they're done with their meal, and they start filing out. And they're busy yakking, oh, it was a great meal, and I'm thinking, oh good, well, that's nice to hear. I hope it is. But as they're walking by and waving their arms, everybody seems to be walking like they can't walk. And they're knocking into my wheelchair. Like no one else. They're not knocking into anyone else who's sitting. They're just knocking into me. And I'm thinking to myself, if I get knocked and hit one more time, I am going to just lose it. So they get them out. The staff is cleaning up their section, waiting for another group to come in. Well, our chef starts his routine, and he's, cooking all the vegetables, and he's chopping them all up, and he's flipping his knives, and he's having a good time, and and I'm like, oh, okay, this is all right. This will be okay. And then the new party rolls in at the two grills behind us. And they're screaming and yelling and hooting and hollering. And I mean screaming. And it's so obvious that they're all drunk as skunks. I mean, they are loaded to the gills. And they're like, screaming. And apparently it's someone's birthday. So they all sit down and they're like, okay, one more time, happy birthday. And they're screaming and singing happy birthday. And everybody at our table is like turning, going, what the hell? And they're just going on and on and on and singing and hooting and hollering. And of course, I'm getting knocked. Every 2 seconds, someone is walking by, knocking me. Now, that is irritating me. And now he's cooking. And I'm on the inside. Now, I don't know if anyone knows, and I may have mentioned it before, but I'm claustrophobic. So I'm again seated the inside of the room between the grills. And everyone is knocking me and hitting me and bumping and pushing me and moving me. And I'm starting to get an anxiety attack. And I can feel it coming on. And the room is starting to close in. And he's cooking on the grill. And the fumes and the heat from the grill is starting to get, and I'm starting to get warm. And I'm starting to get nervous. And the hooting and the hollering and the screaming. And now they're starting to deliver the food. And so we start off with some kind of plate of pea pods. And I'm starting to get nervous. And I'm warm. And I'm getting an anxiety. And I don't want to eat. I don't want to see food. I'm not going to eat the food. I'm getting all nervous. And it's all coming on. And so everyone's busy eating. And then they give us the bowl of soup. And I'm like, forget, I don't want the soup. I don't want the soup. I don't want any food. I'm too nervous. And the screaming is still going on. And I'm thinking, why are they not telling these people to shut the fuck up? I mean, we all paid extra for this. This is not a free meal. This is like $30 a person. Kevin and I are paying $60 along with everybody else. Okay? And we're not enjoying our meal because these assholes behind us are just screaming. And again, it's one more time, happy birthday. And they're just going on and they're screaming and they're getting up and they're running around their table and they're just taking pictures and they're falling over everybody and knocking into me. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how much more I can take of this because I'm getting, hot and bothered. The fumes are making me sick. I'm not eating anything. I'm getting jostled. And finally, I was like, I had had enough. And so I unlocked my wheelchair and I rolled myself back. And Kevin looked at me and goes, what's going on? Where are you going? He's sitting there. He's totally oblivious. I said, get me out of here now. And he went, what? I said, get me out of here right now. And he looked at me and he was like, I don't know what to do. What do you mean you don't know what to do? Get me out of here now because I can't navigate through, the room with the chairs and the people. So he got up and he starts to wheel me out, and everyone's looking like, oh, where are they going? Because we haven't even had the main course yet. So he wheels me out, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. I can't even breathe. I can't even breathe. And so the hostess is like, what's going on? What's wrong? And I just, he stops to talk to her, and I just wheel myself right out of the Orchid Garden restaurant. I'm like, I just need fresh air. I need to breathe. I need to get out of that room. I'm gonna start screaming. And so he's explaining to her, trying to explain to her that it's too crazy in there, and that they never should have seated us, in the middle of the room between all the grills, with everyone going back and forth, knocking into me, and all this screaming going on. And these people who are just, the hostesses or the restaurant managers that are just allowing these people to ruin everyone else's experience. And she's, so they were talking, and I was like, I just didn't even want to hear. So I just wheeled myself out of the restaurant, and I was out in the aisle and sitting by a window. And I'm sitting there, and some old lady comes by, and she's like, oh, here, let me sit next to you. I'll keep you company. My husband's in the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. So then I'm sitting there, Kevin's busy talking to the hostess, and I'm trying to calm myself down. And then the lady, she looks at me, and she kind of looks me up and down, so I'm in my wheelchair, and she goes,
so honey, what's wrong with you?
And I was like, thinking, who the hell asked that question? I mean, how rude. Why would you look at somebody in a wheelchair or scooter or whatever and go, so, what's wrong with you? And just as I turned and looked at her and was about to go, who the fuck asked that question, lady? None of your business. Kevin walks up and says, come on, let's go. And we leave, and he says, listen, they're going to deliver the remaining food to our room. So we went back up to our room, and the tray was there, but it was all it was the main course tray. So I had no appetizer, I had no soup, we got no dessert. It was just the main plate, which had our beef and had our chicken and some rice. And that was it. That was $30. That was our $60 for our evening of a nightmare at Teppanyaki Grill. The food was to die for. Oh my God, that beef was like butter. It was delicious. But we were so disappointed. The experience was a nightmare. And so we were like, that's it. No Teppanyaki Grill for us. But we are going on the NCL Jade in a couple of months in October this year. And, we want to try teppanyaki again, but it's only going to be on certain conditions. And so based on this experience that we had, Kevin's going to have to explain to them when he makes the reservations. This is what happened the last time. And we can't be seated on the inside. Okay, we have to be at the grill near the door. We can't be amongst all the people inside this enclosed room, because if it gets too much and it gets too loud, I want to be able to get my husband out of the restaurant like that, quickly, okay? Or maybe, can we do the Teppanyaki Grill and the whole thing, but maybe can we eat right outside the room at a table in Orchid, at their version of, at the NCL Jade's version. I think it's called Jasmine Gardens. I think that's the name of the Asian restaurant on the Jade. It's called Jasmine. So maybe we can be at a table outside in Jasmine Gardens and not sitting in there with all the crazy yelling and moaning and screaming. You just never know who you're going to be dining with. And then, as it turns out, the next day we ran into the other guests who were sitting at our grill, and they said to us, oh my God, we saw that you left, and you know what? We got up right after you left, and we left. and another couple followed us and they left because it was just so crazy with the screaming and yelling at the other grills. And it was such a shame. And they said the same thing. It was a shame that the hostess didn't control the room, and that all of our experiences at Teppanyaki were totally ruined with these drunk idiots behind us. And it wasn't right and it wasn't fair. So that's my story of the screaming drunks and our experience at Teppanyaki. So maybe this next time, if maybe we're prepared a little better based on our experience, maybe it'll be a much better time for us. So tune in next time on behalf of myself and Cruising with Wheels, Tales from the High Seas. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. It's a baby day. That's crazy. Cut.